Expand your mind and enrich your world. It's time for another outstanding podcast from ICRT. This is Taiwan Talk.
This is Taiwan Talk on ICRT.
Students at public schools in Taiwan's remote areas are facing a shortage of teachers, severe enough that many students are falling behind. So says Teach for Taiwan, a new organization loosely modeled on Teach for America. The nonprofit aims to bring more teachers to remote areas by providing training and support. It's currently recruiting its first group of teachers who will head to small villages in Taidong and Tainan this September. Today, we sit down with the organization's founder, Anting Liu, to learn more about some of the barriers that prevent teachers from working in Taiwan's remote areas and what her organization hopes to do about it. Anting Liu, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Keith.
So what are some of the barriers that would prevent young teachers considering taking these positions from moving into those remote communities and filling these roles?
Well, for one thing, the living conditions are quite different. So without support and good training, there's a lot of difficulty transitioning to a very different environment while doing a difficult teaching job. On the other hand, a lot of times it's difficult to gain trust really quickly in these communities, and without somebody you already know who has a good relationship with the schools and the community, it's really difficult, even if you're a passionate young person who wants to be a teacher, to be able to do effective teaching.
And there's also the consideration that some of these jobs aren't very stable, is that right?
Right. There's a lot of policy issues that will affect the public funding that come with the salaries for teachers. So a lot of times these teachers come and they cannot stay because the funding wouldn't be too stable, or the classes that they can offer wouldn't be too far ahead planned. So there's a lot of instability that comes with the job a lot of times.
So what kind of support can your organization offer for these teachers so that taking these positions is a little bit easier for them?
Right. So per the two main areas I just talked about, first, with the support and the trust that would be really difficult to gain individually, we already established good trust and relationship with the schools that we're working in the communities, as well as a lot of support that would help you ease the transition and even excel in these new environments. And secondly, practically talking about some of the instabilities that comes with a lot of these jobs. We have a special program designed so that you have a 2-year commitment with these schools. So in these 2 years, if you fully invest yourself in learning and excelling in the classrooms, you don't have to worry about losing your job the next day. You have a stable pay for 2 years, and you get training and support along the way as well.
And your organization also provides a bit of financial support, is that right?
That's right, but that's a thing that differs from community to community. The base salary that each school can offer differs a little bit. So from that base salary, we estimate a reasonable living cost that would have to be added to that base salary, and we provide stipend according to our estimation as well.
So these teaching programs will begin in September, and between then and now, your organization is going to be providing training to some of these teachers. Can you tell me a little bit about what that training will entail, how you're going to prepare these teachers for their new environment?
Right, so training starts in late June until early August for 5 weeks, and there are 4 main aspects of our training. The first is working with our one of our teaching colleges in Taichung to gain some of the base knowledge that you have to have in terms of working in a public school in Taiwan, and some of the base knowledge you have to have in terms of teaching classrooms the way it is right now with the material we have already. So that's the first part, the short part of the training. And then the second part of the training is called Teaching as Leadership, and this is a course that's taught in Teach for America and in 32 countries that they currently work with. So this is a course that really talks about leadership that used to be only talked about in a business or a government sense, but now bring it into classrooms and talk about what it means to be a leader in the classroom. How do you see needs, and how do you improve, and how do you assess your own performance, etc. So that's a course that'd be really interesting as well. And the third part of the course, it's called local training. So we brought the community experts and trust that we already established to introduce you to these communities that you'll be working in, so you understand the local context. And a lot of times if you work, for example, in an Aboriginal tribe, what it means to be working in those areas. So we're bringing local experts to talk to you about those areas. And the fourth part of the training, we call it I suppose, putting what you learn into practice. So we have a summer camp, actually, that we work with, that would bring some of the underprivileged children that we care about. And they have a summer camp every year. And this year we're working with them so that our new teachers get a chance at the very end of the training to practice all the theories, all the understanding they have gained into just an actual learning environment.
And obviously the most important role that your organization is going to play is providing more teachers to these students. But what do you think teachers are going to take away from this experience, and how are they going to apply that experience later in life?
First, skills, on a really practical side. It's extremely difficult to manage a classroom and to really enable every child that you teach to really reach for their fullest. And so we talk about teaching as leadership, and that's where the leadership comes from. You are willing to manage people. You're able to allow the people that you manage to become better than they could have otherwise, and you create greater impact together, and you learn what it means to work in a new environment and to establish relationships that are critical to your success. In the current way that we train our college students, college graduates, it's very difficult otherwise to gain these skills. But in these 2 years of teaching, you're not only theoretically learning about these leadership skills, you're actually putting into practice. And in 2 years' time, I guarantee you'll be such a better leader. And that is a leader that would be a leader in the classroom. You'd be a leader in any other field that you choose to be in, and that's an incredible set of skills that you bring with you. And then the second part of what you would take away, I call identity capital, and that's something 20-somethings always look for. You're looking for your identity. You're looking for your ultimate destiny whatsoever. And it's extremely difficult for you to find that in a typical sort of mundane entry-level job if you're not really thinking about what you could potentially be. And a lot of times, I'm 25 right now, and a lot of my friends are quitting because they just couldn't find meaning in their work. I think it's an incredible privilege that you will have in this 2-year program, that you would really come close to understanding your identity by investing your own impact, by seeing your impact on the people that truly can work with you to create a difference in the future. So I think the second part, sort of more vague but as important of what you would take away aside from practical skills, is the identity capital that you invest and take away as well in 2 years' time.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your program has already sent one pilot teacher out into one of these remote communities. What can you say about his experience so far in beginning this program?
Right, and I actually love talking about his experience. His name is Jackie. He graduated from National Taiwan University. He was a mechanics major. No way in the world originally he was going to think about teaching, but he was thinking about social impact, and he was really interested in investing himself in an impactful work that's beyond what he would traditionally do out of his major. So he started getting interested in our organization. He was part of our very first team for almost a year and decided to become our pilot teacher. And so far, he's been just so excited about the experience. He was very nervous at the beginning because he didn't have any teaching background. He was an education major, but now he has a great relationship with the principal, with the teachers, with his children, and he really is seeing his own impact. That's, he's only been there for a little while, but already he's seeing himself growing so much, learning so much, and loving his experience, and knowing, he now tells everybody he sees, knowing that he will be a better leader in 2 years' time, and he can go back to whatever field that now he is more certainly interested in afterwards, whether he stays in classroom or not. So he's gained a lot, and he loves talking about it, and that's sort of the impact that we're trying to have on this teacher individually and on all the people around him, seeing his different choice and how that brings him to a different level of understanding of the society and also understanding his own impact to the society.
Earlier this month, your organization started recruiting new teachers, looking for new teachers. Can you tell me a little bit about the kind of young person that you're looking for to fill these teaching roles? And also tell me a little bit about why you think that this is a kind of job that young people would be interested in taking.
Right, so the type of people that we're looking for, I talked about Jackie, our pilot teacher's profile just now. So he really symbolizes in some way who we're looking for. We're not necessarily looking for people with a strong education background or who had always for his entire life thought about going into teaching. Well, while those two things could be good, but that's not necessary. We look for people who have a good understanding of why he wants to do this. He understands our mission. He's ready to carry it out. And even if this person doesn't have a strong education background, as long as this person understands deeply why he's doing this, his motivation, and alongside with that, our organization's mission, he's really, really ready to carry it out in his own teaching experience. And since especially this is our first year, we need this person to be really entrepreneurial, willing to create new changes, to adjust to uncertainties, and to work with new environments to create impact together with us. So these are some of the key qualities that we look for in the people that we're trying to recruit. And so you asked me, who do I think would respond to this call? I think the main reasons why I came back to create, trying to establish this organization is because I just saw so much passion that came out of my interaction with university students who had experiences during their school years. These are young people who want to create impact but couldn't find a way, couldn't understand how they could combine these passion they've gained throughout their experiences into a real job. It seems to them that, all right, you're in university and you can have these cool experiences, but now you're looking for a job that's a completely different path that you're talking about. So the way we're trying to talk about this job is that this is a great way for you to use 2 years to gain a lot of great skills and experiences while you're investing in your own passion as well, to really have a chance to realize your own dreams, your own mission for life, and to have a better understanding of what kind of impact you can have on the society and others.
And how is your organization going to work with the teachers and the education faculty that are already working in these communities?
Yeah, I think that's a really critical question. A lot of times people think, are you trying to deny all the hard work or the good work that's already being done by a lot of hardworking teachers in the system? Are you trying to say that you are better? And the answer to these questions are always no. We get into education field because we respected and greatly think that more people should be teachers. So we work closely with retired and current teachers where they work as mentors to our new teachers to help them get into their teaching expertise more quickly and support them throughout their 2-year experiences. A lot of times our training courses, for example, are co-designed by the teachers that we know and work with. A lot of our teaching philosophies are formed by many of these teachers that we have interacted with. So I think to answer your question, we work with them in any way possible. We're trying to get their support because we need them. And we need them to help us navigate through a very complicated education system where we're together trying to create change.
So your first group of teachers are going to enter classrooms this September. If this first year goes well, what are your hopes and aspirations for where this organization could go?
Well, I think eventually, in the very long term, this organization is not just a program per se. It is going to be a social movement of a lot of young people now more willing and more capable of taking responsibilities, of tackling some of the most crucial issues that's in our society right now. So, for example, if you look at Teach for America, 20-some years after their first group of teachers enter schools, 20 years later, they are now leaders in government, leaders in business, leaders in the education field. And they're now dealing with the education inequality issue from a very different position, but arguably even more influentially. So that's the long-term goal that we're looking at.
We've been speaking to Anting Liu. She's the founder of Teach for Taiwan. Anting, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you want to learn more about Teach for Taiwan, you can visit their website at teachfortaiwan.org. That's teach, the number 4, Taiwan.org. Or you can visit them on their Facebook page. Thanks for listening to Taiwan Talk. As always, you can let us know what you thought about today's show by leaving a comment on ICRT's Facebook page or by rating and reviewing the show on iTunes. This lets us know what you're thinking, and it helps other people discover the show. For ICRT, I'm Keith Menconi.